Right, so this it's another drawing exercise on the theme of people, and this one's drawing upside down, which I don't know if any of you have done any drawing courses. This particular book is good for drawing. It gets you thinking in particular ways and looking in particular ways, and the idea is that quite often we sort of grow up drawing in a symbolic sort of way, and this gets you looking at shapes and proportions and looking in a more abstract way. So the exercise that they've suggested is that one, drawing upside down, a linear exercise, which I've always used that one with when I used to do run basic drawing classes.
So is that not lifting your pen off? Or you can?
You can lift your pen off. Yeah. That's more the kind of that's the blind contour where you're not looking, just drawing. Sorry, you're not looking at drawing. You're looking at the subject of the drawing. But that's there as well. But then I just saw that page and I thought, well, that'd be quite good to do the same thing, but with tone. And also I was thinking to do the exercise where you start with a mid-tone and then lift bits out and draw bits in. So that's the idea. So you could do this with charcoal, or might have a go on just a toned paper with pastels, which would be less messy, to be honest. But I quite like charcoal, so it's quite nice to have a go at the charcoal sometimes. So, starting, so I've got, if anybody wants to have a go, I've just basically got that photo off of the, it's the same one as in the book, and the idea is just start somewhere and work your way down. So, what appeals to me about this is, rather than sort of drawing edges, you're sort of finding your edges through the tones. So we start with something quite dark there, and I'm just really looking for tonal shapes. So I could start with that bit there, and then we've got a little bit of a tonal shape just under here. I'm trying not to name the parts really. I just moving. Keep that still. And then a good thing for tone is just keep squinting. Really just kind of half close your eyes. I'm working across here now. Then we've got this dark shape coming through here, and then just a bit of light there. So maybe I'll lift some of that in a minute. We've got a dark shape here, just coming up here. I've got some. This is quite a nice thick sort of scene painter's charcoal. So that's quite good for just blocking in big areas. There's a little bit of a half tone here, so I might have to do a little bit of lifting out there. And then maybe get some these sort of crescent shapes here. And the same here. The other thing to notice is that this side is all quite mid-tone overall. This side is a little bit lighter, so that might be worth just popping a mid-tone in there. And with charcoal, it's almost like you've got to kind of go too dark and then lighten up. So put that on there, and then work that in a little bit. You can use your fingers, or if you've got these blenders, these are really good. Just in the. I think when I was at art school, I don't remember us having these sort of things. These are quite nice to work with, really. Kind of work that in. And then a little bit of a half tone here. And then we've got a dark area here. Just work that in quickly. And then the next stage is lifting areas out. So you can use your fingers, a bit of tissue to start with. And then perhaps go in with a rubber and a razor. I find it's easier if you just get some of the charcoal off to start with. Sort of soften those edges out a little bit. So it's a nice sort of broad way of working. I mean, if you're trying to do this in pencil, that'd be hours just to get that much tonal density there. So that's quite a nice way to work. Then you could use rubbers. Let's put in that a little bit. So let's see, there's a light area there. Let me start in the middle and work out. Now that becomes clogged quite quickly, so either white on a drawing board or a bit of cloth or something. Trousers, something like that. You won't get back to pure white really, but you'll get it a little bit lighter. So this charcoal is the willow charcoal. It's not the compressed stuff. You'd have a job getting so much off with the compressed. And then, you know, you could perhaps go in a little bit darker. You don't have to do the whole thing upside down. I think it's quite a nice way to start. Perhaps a bit of dark under there. And I've got one of these little mechanical rubbers, so this is quite nice for just picking little bits out. But actually these blenders are quite good as well for, I'm just thinking this bit here, I don't want it white, but I just want it a little bit lighter. So I can just lift a little bit out of that. That's little bits here. And you know, if you've got some dark on there, you can sort of use them to draw with as well. Kind of draw marks in. Some of these edges here. Pick up a little bit of charcoal from there and fix it in. And just a little bit of highlight out, maybe a tiny bit here. Got to be a little bit careful you don't lift, if you lean on it, you'll lift a bit too much out. That's quite good at just lifting bigger areas out. So that's that approach. I'll just turn it over and just see how it works. Obviously, you keep going. That was the one I worked on Tuesday. You can see something starting to emerge there. You could then kind of work into that. Get some lighter, a little bit of light to come out there, but again, not very bright, but just wants to be slightly lighter. I always like charcoal drawings. They've got a nice sort of luminous quality. They've got the really black backs, but they're a bit like watercolours, where you've got the white of the paper showing through. So it's something I wouldn't mind experimenting with a little bit more myself. You could probably pick out tiny little drops like that. If you wanted a little bit of light in the corner there, or a tiny bit there, that would probably be too much. So yeah, that's one approach. Another approach would be to, this is just a bit out of the sketchbook, so if anybody wants to have a go at this, I've got a few of these bits. Same sort of thing, but you know, just use that as your mid-tone, and then work into it. So again, you could approach it upside down again. I think this time I'll start with this area. And I'm trying to find some shades of grey. What's the bit? Probably about that sort of tone. Perhaps just find a couple of shades of. It doesn't have to be grey, it could be like shades of blue or brown or something like that. Just as long as you've got 1 or 2 different shades of a similar colour. Looking at this area here. Back to a bit darker. got pastel pencils, they might work as well in conjunction with pastels that are a bit chunkier. Try these ones. Actually, that might work. That's too light. Just get a few. Yeah, that might be right. So sometimes just using them on their sides, you can block in big areas, so that can be quite nice. I think I should have started at the top like I did with the other one, really. Yeah, that feels more satisfactory, just kind of working that in like that. Again, you can lift this out to an extent, you can rub areas out, work this in into the grain of the paper. Get that a little bit darker. So these sort of little square pastels would be quite good for this. And we were doing this just before with these. You've got a kind of blocky something like that. Yeah, that's probably about the right time for that. Yeah, so that's another take on that.
So is the type of paper you're using, does it hold the charcoal?
Well, this is just like a bit out of my sketchbook. So it's really very cheap graph paper. This holds it fairly well. Yeah, it's got a little bit of a tooth, so yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah. I think actually I found the charcoal. I thought I'd find that easier, but I found the charcoal easier really. I'm quite interested in this way of working though. Last week I went out and just did some very quick sketches with like marker pens and bits of pastel. So I did, these were sort of 10-minute sketches, and it's this sort of approach, just kind of blocking in big areas and then with darks and then bringing in lights and mid-tones. So yeah, it's quite satisfactory. And then actually with this, you can then sort of draw in your highlights. And when you start to put these in, the lights will really pop. Turn the other way there. Sort of get areas to really pop. Yeah. Good sort of pitching the tones. Brought a couple of paintings in. Oh yeah, just to show you. So I think next week I'll do a little bit on just people in a landscape. I might stick to the pastels or bring some sort of colour next week. But I brought these two in because these are the sort of things I do. With the people bits of them, I try and get something in while I'm there if I can. So I think with this one, these were all painted on site because I couldn't find any photographs afterwards to finish it. I did a little bit more just on the foliage that was looking a bit scrappy, just from memory. This one was a bit of a mixture. I think most of these figures are painted on site, and this woman actually sat there for quite a while with her dog, so I managed to get her in. I think from the photos I did a tiny bit more to the dog. I took somebody out here and put these three women in and put the geese in. So I do a little bit of a mixture. Yesterday I was working on this one, so this is all done on site. What I did do was I took, as I was painting little groups of people that came and had their drinks or had a smoke or whatever, I took a few photos as well. So, I can go back and just tweak these a little bit. Plus there was she was talking to somebody else, he was talking to somebody else, but by the time I got round to it got any further, they moved on. So I'd have to rely on me, because the idea I had, I did this this sketch, I think last year, and I kind of wanted something with lots of people at the bottom and the buildings in the background. But obviously it was a cold day yesterday, not many people were out, not so many people outside, but I managed to make a start on So yeah, that's the...
Is that in London or are we? In London or are we?
Yeah, this is Billingsgate.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so we're around near Monument.
Yeah.
So we're painting there yesterday. Yeah, so that's how far I've got. It needs quite a bit of work. I think there's something a bit wonky about the building. But I couldn't work it out. Tied it up a bit. But anyway, that's a few bits of writing.